Welcome to the Invest with Nikki podcast, where we talk all about real estate, wealth building, and how to build your FIRE, creating financial independence so you can retire early. Today, I'm stoked to be with one of my favorite clients and friends. He's a full-time real estate investor. He's going to share all about his journey, what he's up to, and how he's creating financial independence for himself. Welcome, Joshua Rathbun, to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for inviting me.
Super excited to have you. And you're a full-time real estate investor, right? How long?
I am. So since about the end of 2018 is when I started.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, what, 8 years now?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So take me back.
Mhm.
What was your first real estate deal? And how were you different then from the investor that you are now?
Ooh, that's a big one. So I guess you could say my first deal was actually in the car driving to and from work. And the way I like to explain that is I discovered real estate investing. It was through podcasting, right? So it was constant listening with my wife in the car, and we'd be traveling to and from work.
Yeah.
And the drive to and from work was an hour one way.
Ooh.
So,
What'd you do?
Dropping off the kids. So I was in investment banking. I was in the IT department. So
Gotcha.
for 10 years. And then before that, I built houses. I've driven semi. So I was kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
But then I got into IT because I liked computers. And then I was
Right.
like, well, one day I looked up from the desk and I'm like, if I don't change, this is the rest of my life. Like I will stay in the cubicle the rest of my life. Get comfortable. And I was like, no, I don't want to get comfortable. I was 10 years comfortable in that cubicle, and then I decided, no, we're done. So that's when the podcasting came around, discovered real estate, and then for a year and a half of podcast consumption,
Right.
it was just like clicked.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need to find a person that can find me deals, So
Yeah.
I was discovering how to find the deals, and then I discovered a realtor. He was the best in that city, and
Right.
that was in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And he's like, well, what are you looking for? I said, everything. And he's like, oh, no.
No, we got to get specific.
What are you looking for?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I want as many doors as I can get right now. I don't want to start with one. I don't want to start with two. That's not my goal. My goal is to scale as fast as I can.
Yeah.
So my first deal was 6 doors.
Okay.
So it was 2 duplexes and 2 single-family homes.
Wow.
And that's what spurred the journey on to over 50 doors, and then flipping kind of spawned from that because I was like, well, if I can turn an apartment, I can turn a house.
Right.
So then in the middle of all that was flipping as well.
Yeah.
So then over 30 plus flips now. And then here we are today.
Yeah.
Where I'm like looking at it and looking back and I'm going, whoa, that was 2.5 years to get to 50 doors. So
That's fast.
I went really fast.
Yeah. You didn't
just,
waste time.
Just hit it hard, because I was like, again, there's a goal I had in mind. And if I'm not going to reach that goal in the time frame that I wanted, did I really put my effort in?
Yeah.
So.
What was the goal then versus like what the goal is now?
So the goal then was more of an ego trip. I had to say, well, I made it to 50 doors. What does that even mean? Because when you start hearing that when you're first investing, it's like, oh, 50 doors. It's like, that's great and fine and dandy, but what is the end result? How did I purchase it? What am I going to sell it for? All the things that you really aren't really thinking about when you get to that point. It's like,
Yeah. When you're brand new.
when you're
and
brand
just
new. Yeah.
Hustling, right?
Hustling, and it's just like, well, get it. But if you don't know what to do with it, it doesn't matter if you get it.
Yeah.
So I think the journey through that leads me to today, when I'm buying and doing these 1031 exchanges over into bigger flipping and more targeted,
Right.
I'd say, deals.
Yes.
And it launches you into a different platform, I guess you'd say. And there's always leveling up inside of real estate investing. Again, when you're starting off, you don't realize the other levels above you.
Right.
But you have to surround yourself with those people who are at those different levels. And I just look at it as like stairs almost.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. I see you doing that. I see you actively doing that. And I love that.
Yeah.
You've built a network around you of people that you're always bouncing ideas off of. And
Right, and they say, your net worth is your network, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's a lot to be said to that because I wouldn't be where I'm at now had I not met all the right people along the way.
Right.
And put myself in those positions, especially at the beginning when I was like, well, how do I provide value to everybody else? Right? You're a newbie. You're still trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
How do you provide value that way? Well, we found a local meetup in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay.
And I met with the leader there, and she was tired of doing it.
Oh.
And I was like, well, why don't you transition it to me and I run it? I didn't know anything about real estate at that time. But I knew how to coordinate meetings. I knew how to coordinate people. I'm a people person. I love talking. And I was like, oh, hey, honey, let's go do this. And she's like, are you sure you want to take that on? And I'm like, absolutely. And that was with full-time job, 2 kids, everything in between.
Because you're still working full-time at that point.
Absolutely.
And then,
Absolutely. At that point was still working all those jobs, plus doing nights and weekends studying real estate, trying to find deals, and then putting this on our plate was like, oh, there isn't enough hours in a day.
Right. What were the early podcasts that really helped you?
So I would say Bigger Pockets was a major player.
Yeah.
That one hit pretty hard. I went to their conferences, met all the right people, Beardy Brandon, did all those things that I guess investors know about that podcast as well.
Right.
But, there's other littler ones where it's like financial independence through real estate, the FIRE podcast. And then all the self-help ones where it's just like more motivation.
Yeah. Or like removing your mental limitations, so that you can go and learn these things and build, right?
Yeah, exactly. Andy Frisella, he was a big one just as far as the mental side of things.
I've never listened to him.
Yeah, he's mouthy, but he'll kick you in the butt and like just get you going.
Like he's kind of hardcore.
He's very hardcore, but very business minded, and I think stuff like that. Yeah. And it's like putting those podcasts in front of yourself to make sure that it's like you're always learning. I think.
Yeah.
If you stop learning, you stop growing, and it's just
absolutely.
Real estate investing requires you to learn something all the time. Right? Like.
Yes, sir.
And
I know.
The good, the bad, the ugly. You know, and it's just you have to learn it all.
Yeah. That's one thing about you I've really admired that is I've noticed through all the deals we've been doing together is like you just attack. Like you don't wait. And a lot of times when I'm like bringing something up to you, you're like, oh yeah, I'm already on it. Like I already got that figured out, or I'm already in progress with that. And I'm like, dang, that's awesome. And I think that's one of the reasons why I love working with you is your speed and your like, you just go, like, you're just offense all the time. Like just going after things. Yeah. And that's what's going to make you successful, Yeah.
And I think like, especially like newer people when they're entering into this kind of world, and I think there's a lot of like really big guys that are trying to look for younger generation to pour into. Yeah. But if they sense any sort of, I guess, hesitation, weakness, if you want to label it that, or any sort of like, well, I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm just going to freeze.
Procrastination.
Right? Yeah. Maybe procrastination. Yeah. And they just like see that, they're going to smell that, and they're going to know it, and they're going to be like, you're not ready.
Yes.
Right? And I think that's the biggest thing is sometimes you're not ready. Yeah. And I don't want to say fake it till you make it, because I don't know if that's the right answer, but I think it's one of those things where if you don't know the answer, find someone that does know the answer and then come back to the other person and say, I have an answer. Because they're looking for you to find the solution.
Absolutely.
Are you able to find solutions?
Yes.
And that's going to create speed. And for me, it's like efficiency with people. And like I was talking with my friend yesterday, I was like, you have to find the people that are masters at what they do so that you can become the master that you need to be in your world, right? Absolutely. And then they're going to be looking to you, you're looking to them, and everyone grows together. Yeah. Because if you leave any one person behind, I think the entire business model falls apart. Yeah, that's true. Because you're just like, well, this person's struggling, why would I help them? You got to pay it. You got to pay it forward. You got to pay it down. You got to pay it up. And it's like everyone is connected. Yeah. For me.
I mean, you got to know your cut point with people of like when you're done working with them. Yep. If they consistently prove to you that they're totally just not up for the challenge. They're not ready to rise.
Yeah, because, maybe they're not ready.
Everyone has their time of when they're really ready. You know. But definitely, I think you're right. Like, you've got to lift others up around you on this journey. And those people, the good ones, they're going to always have your back. And they're gonna be there for you, and they're going to help you. And so when did you go full-time in real estate?
Oh, it was back, let's see, 2020, I would say.
Okay.
And this is when I hit it hard and I realized like there was a jumping point,
Yeah.
especially if you have a job. There is a point, there's a point of no return, right? Because you realize the amount of effort you put into the real estate investing is requiring more time than you're able to give. And if you don't make that jump, you'll always be second guessing yourself, right? So you're like, oh, should I go full time? Should I go full time? Should I go full time? Like if you keep asking yourself that, you'll never go full time.
Well, when did you know it was time?
Basically when I ran out of hours in a day. Right?
Yes.
You know, and I realized I stopped giving time to my family. I stopped giving 100% effort to my day job. And
Yeah.
I wasn't giving enough effort into real estate investing.
Right.
So like there is a give point.
Right.
Right. So then I was like, okay. And this is weird to say, I engineered my layoff.
Tell me about
So I knew at that moment in time where there were layoffs going around work. Right. And so I picked up very early in the corporate world that I realized that was just a number.
Yeah.
Because they could lay off someone who had 30 years experience in there.
Yeah.
And they can lay off someone with 30 hours of experience.
Yep.
So that's when I was like, there's an aha moment. Not that I'm not going to give 100% to my day job, but there was definitely some suffering going on inside of there.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I told my boss, I was like, if something comes around, I want first out.
Yeah.
And he's like, whoa, that's big. And I'm like, I have things going on that need to happen.
Yeah.
And this will give me the ability to make those dreams come true.
Give me my severance package.
Right.
You're
Give me
like-
my severance. Right. In so many words, it's like, give me my severance, you know? And so that was, you know, in the making since 2019. And then we got to 2020. And all of a sudden I heard the layoffs going on. And then that person came to my desk and he's like, guess what? And I'm like, yes. You know, I
Yes, you're so
celebrated.
excited.
I was so excited.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a transition. And I think, I'm not saying that's for everyone, go engineer your layoff. But
I'm saying it.
there is, right? And you know, everyone's different. Everyone
Right.
has a different journey. And for me, I knew, and I was like, if I don't do this, I will never do this.
Yeah. That was your moment.
That was my moment. And that was my
moment.
time to shine. And I knew, like, I have to do this, not just for myself, but for my family,
Yeah.
for my friends, because I was like always talking about it. But it's like you get the dopamine hit of like, all you're gonna do is talk. You're never gonna take action. You know, so it's
Did you have some haters, some doubters?
100.
Yeah.
A lot of them at work, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, come on, you'll never do that. You know,
Are any of those people still in your life today?
No.
Right? Deuces.
Net worth, you know, because it was like I had to replace those people who are still stuck with
Yeah.
people who aren't stuck.
Yeah, absolutely. And those type of people, though, they give me so much fuel.
Yeah, absolutely.
They give me so much fuel, and
Right.
I'm like, yeah, tell me I'm not going to do it.
Right.
Watch.
And it's, I don't want to say I feel sorry for them, but at the
Oh, I
same
do.
time, it's
Yeah.
like they're not taking the action in their life, so they have to project it onto you because they're like, oh,
Absolutely.
I'm not doing it, so therefore you can't do that.
They're just showing you what their own beliefs of their own limitations are.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's like, all right, yeah, I can toot my horn now, but at the same time, I'm like, there's more levels to where I want to go. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, there's bigger people out there doing bigger things.
Yeah.
I want to get there. So I'm not so busy looking in the rear view. I'm going, okay, how quickly can I get to where they're at?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and putting the right people in place so that I can get there.
Right.
You know, and like when I'm failing or when I'm down on myself, I call those people and they're like, oh, suck it up, buttercup.
Yep.
You know, time for the next level. This is where it's
right.
at.
Yep.
You know, and it's not all flowers and roses in real estate investing. It can burn you just as much as it can help you.
Absolutely. That's
know,
true.
and
So,
I've been burned.
about that, like, what mistake almost made you quit?
It was actually in Sarasota, Florida.
Yeah.
I thought I knew everything about real estate because I was about 30 deals in, and I'm like, oh, I'm too good to fail because I've never failed. And I was like, there's no way I could fail. I'm too good at it. Went down to Sarasota without the help of a mentor because I was like, I got this. Went down there, got caught up with a realtor, the wrong realtor, and purchased the wrong property. And I did everything I said I was going to do the property, but during that moment in time, I was too busy managing the GC instead of hiring the right GC. I just hired a GC. And they took and ran with it and then cut out basically at the very end of the deal. So we couldn't finish. Then the city got on us for not pulling permits. He didn't pull permits.
He never even pulled the permits.
Never even pulled permits.
Gosh.
So that was a lesson learned on my part for not only managing him in the wrong direction, but also having a little too much of like, I got this.
Yeah.
And not having the right people say, well, did you come at it from this angle? Did you come at it from this angle? Like, did you consider this? I just went after it because that's just like, I'm very aggressive in that side, but that's where aggressiveness can burn you.
Yeah.
And I got burned. You know, that's $100,000 lesson.
Right.
Would I do it again? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I learned more in that year than I did in the past 7 years.
Wow.
And
that was your school.
I have to pay for my schooling.
That was your tuition.
Some people go to college. I go pay for my schooling.
That's
and I
right.
get burned by it. It leaves my account. We were in the verge of losing all sorts of stuff through that.
Wow.
But one of the mentors at that moment in time, and when I went through it, they looked at my portfolio and said, "You're fine." I'm like, "What do you mean I'm fine?" And they're like, "Well, sell this, this, and this, and it covers that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh." They're like, "Real estate can be used in anything. What if your health goes down?
Yeah.
You can sell and take care of that." I'm like, that made the transition of like, oh, I have to use real estate to live. It's not just like a number where I'm like, oh, I got 50 doors or I got 30 flips or I got all whatever you fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It's there to take care of you as well.
It's the vehicle
to get you
for
through the hard times.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that was another aha moment of like, oh, you're right. Like, no.
Yeah.
This is the progression. This is how you use real estate to live. Because at the end of the day, that's what we got. We have a business. We're living on it.
Yeah.
We're taking care of our families.
Yeah.
That's why we do this.
Right. Yeah, because if we didn't have families to take care of, we probably wouldn't work as hard as we do.
We wouldn't work as hard as like, oh, I'm on a beach somewhere in Florida and I'm just chilling and whatever, but when you have responsibilities, and everyone's got responsibilities, it puts another fire in you. There are the hater side, but there's also the lover side where it's like your family is looking up to you to succeed.
Absolutely.
And if you're not being the person you're supposed to be, man or woman, why are you not where you're supposed to be? Because I tell my kids, I'm like, somebody out there is always waiting for you to impact them. Ooh. And if you're not in the right spot to impact them, shame on you for not being there.
Yeah. True.
And that's what kind of like keeps me going as well. And
that's
I'm like,
great.
I got to put myself.
You got to be the leader for that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So let's talk about you. We had a conversation the other day, and it was so cool because I just saw you like light up.
Yeah.
You were talking about how, man, this is crazy. Like I'm literally selling like what was like $300,000, $400,000 assets, and now you're buying like multi-million-dollar deals. So you talk to me about like that process, like how you started, and you talked about that step up. Like talk about that, like what your success you're now creating because of the decisions you made before.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one, right? Because when you're starting out, you look at $1 million deals or more, and you're going, "There's no way, I'm not worth that." How could I ever get there? That's money that's not feasible to me. I've never seen it in my family's generations.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go to work. I'm supposed to retire with maybe $1 million in my account, and I looked at that the same way.
Okay.
But then when I built it, and I realized that $1 million just has an extra zero on it.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that kind of deal and the deals I've already been doing?
Right.
It's just another zero.
Yes.
And so as soon as I realized those moments, and then, like I said, executing with these 1031s, and then realizing it's just a matter of shifting money into the next level.
Yes.
Real estate's real estate.
Yeah.
A house is a house. Everything's built with wood.
Yeah.
Or steel. Right?
Or concrete. Yeah.
Or concrete. Right?
Yeah.
There's no magic to it.
Right.
It's not like it's this magical button that you push and, somehow I know more than you do.
Right.
No, I'm in the thick of it. I've learned. I did my little flips. I got into medium flips, and now I'm getting into these multi-million-dollar homes and leveling up these things, because it's like, oh, if I realize that I have the potential to do something, well then now I'm in a position where I can capitalize on everything that I've said I wanted to be. Which then the next person behind me goes, "How did you do it?" And I go, "Let me show you the way. I've already been there."
Yeah.
And then there's a person ahead of me who's already been there, right? So
when did you realize you were worth it? I guess was that recently that you're like, oh, like I can do these? these multi-million dollar projects?
Yeah, I would say in the past year, I was like, oh, I need to get rid of a portfolio to build another portfolio, because I was always in the mindset of like never sell.
You were just like, I'm going to hold.
I'm holding everything.
Okay.
Right? I'm never going to put all my chips in. I'm holding everything because that's my lifeblood. You know, that's how I'm going to live, so I don't have to go back to a day job.
Because you were living off the cash flow, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So once I realized like, oh, if I don't get rid of these things, I will always be where I've always been.
Yeah. Right.
That's, for me, that was that moment of like, all right, I need to go bigger, and then realize what in my mind was bigger was actually not as big of a jump as I thought it was.
Okay.
The jump was only in my head.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a mental block, right?
The people around me are going, bro, really? Like,
yeah.
This is the level up. Like, get up there. Go.
Yeah.
You're ready for those things.
Yeah.
You know, and I think we just hold ourselves back through self-doubt.
Yeah, it was cool. Like, when we were talking, you basically said, like, wow, this is crazy. Like, I'm literally taking an asset that... How much were those assets that you sold? What were the sales price?
Anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million.
Right. But you went into them when you bought them, they were much less, right?
Much less.
So what did you get into them for? Let's talk about that.
So let's say like my biggest one was a 14 unit. I got into that for $440,000. Put $200,000 in. Sold it for $1 million.
Right.
Right.
So now you're taking those assets that you went in, you know, you were all in, let's say 600, right? And now you're buying properties that are going to trade for, you know, like $2.5 to $4 million, right?
Right.
So it's like, that's the power of real estate is
it's a lever.
Yeah. You've bought these, you know, lower value assets that you held and you cash flowed, you lived off of that money.
Totally.
And then it grew in equity.
Right.
And then you use the vehicle of a 1031 exchange, which I want you to talk about that in just a second. You use the 1031 exchange to then level up into bigger assets to build your wealth and to build even more cash flow and even more cash to do more projects. So a lot of our audience, you know, is new to short-term rental investing.
Okay.
Or it just flipping projects or just multi-units. A lot of them are learning. So I'd love for you to share with like how a 1031 has benefited you and how that process works.
Yeah. So it's, when you're starting out, you know, a lot of people say you're either buying for cash flow or you're buying for equity. Right. And you're going to hear that a lot. You know, it's like, it's either one or the other. For me, it was both. Right. I was investing in Class C type rentals, Class C areas. And I realized like not only was there cash flow at that moment in time because I was using the BRRRR strategy, that there was also equity at the very end of it. And the markets have shifted in this amount of time that I've been investing. The markets have shifted in different ways.
It's gone down.
It's gone
crazy.
all over, right? And everyone's like, oh, you got to wait, or now's the time to buy. And I never considered what the market was doing. All I knew is if it's a deal, it's a deal.
Right.
You buy.
Right.
Right. And so that set me up for capturing that kind of equity, right? And not being gun shy and just being like, well, the deal was a deal, so I made the execution, I made it work, I got the lenders involved, everyone, you know, leveled up. And so now, when you're like, okay, what's the next lever you pull? It's the 1031, the power of the 1031, right? And that's basically, for those who don't know, you're not going to get taxed on your taxable gains, right? So when you sell a property, you 1031 exchange into a like kind property or greater, right? So in that instance of the $1 million, it was like, okay, I have that $400,000 in equity. Yeah. I can do one of two ways. I can roll it over and buy 2 properties, or I can roll it over into a really big property.
Right.
But regardless, it has to be $1 million or more.
Yep.
Right. So.
And you're deferring paying taxes on that $400,000 of profit that you've made.
Yes. Right. And that's where the more you can roll, the bigger the bucket is at the end. If you're trying to cash out and you're just like, oh, I'll pay the taxes, it's okay. Yeah. You're actually putting yourself behind. Yeah. Because you're leaving money on the table for more deals in the future. And the wealthy don't pay taxes, right? And you probably heard that, you know, and a lot of your listeners will say, well, how do they not pay taxes?
Yes.
Exactly like this.
Yep.
1031ing like rolling forward your short-term gains because you're like, oh, I need to reward myself.
Right.
Do you though?
Right.
Delayed gratification.
Yes, absolutely.
Right, and I think people,
because it's like you have that $400,000 profit.
Right.
But like, what do you do with it?
What do you do with it? You grow.
Yeah. What are you going to do with the $400,000? Okay. What are your options? You can put it in the
boat.
stock market. You can buy a boat. You can buy an asset that depreciates, a car.
Right.
But I mean, like, if you don't need that money to live, right? Why would you take that cash out?
Exactly.
You need to have a plan for what you're going to do with that money, right?
Totally.
And this is how the wealthy build. This is how they build their fire. You know, they take that money and they put it into a bigger asset that can either gain them more because there's so much upside on the flip that can either cash flow them more, or it's just going to be an asset that's going to build an equity over time, and maybe they're long-term rentals, or whatever strategy that they're doing, whatever they're going after. It's a bigger asset that they can continue to grow and build their wealth through. So
agreed.
It's cool because I think a lot of people don't know about 1031 exchanges. I mean, of course, experienced investors do. But it's definitely a vehicle that is just so powerful.
And it's underutilized, and I think it's just, if you don't know about it, you won't use it.
Right.
But, if you're listening to this podcast, you know about it now. Make sure you're using it.
Yes.
And I think with the newer investors, and you're like, oh, okay, that's fine, great and dandy, but I'm still working on my first deal or my second deal or my third deal. Well, and here's the thing with investing is like, you have to remove emotion from investing. Is it emotional? Yes. But you have to remove your emotion from it. And I can say that to say, okay, here's what I did. Yeah, I got my first 6 doors. I scaled up. But what most people don't know is when I got to that 50 doors and I was still flipping, I sold my house, I sold my cars, I sold everything.
Wow.
I bought an RV, and I traveled the nation for 4 years.
Wow.
4.5 years with my family. And I've seen everything under the sun. All the national parks. I went and traveled everywhere.
Wow.
While investing from the road.
Wow.
I've not seen most of my flips. I've never seen some of these houses.
That's amazing.
I've never seen some of these apartments. I did it without seeing it.
That's kind of mind-blowing to me because for all the deals that we've done together, you're so involved. You're so hands-on.
Right.
Like, we're going to be boots on the ground at the properties today.
Yep.
So what's changed for you now being here? Is it just because you're close?
Because I'm close.
Okay. And they're higher end projects? Or?
The higher end projects, again, after getting off the road and knowing that, because people are like, how do you do that without seeing something? I think it's just a matter of, again, removing that emotion. And then now that I'm off the road, I'm like, wow, if I could make that work without seeing projects, imagine what I can do while I see projects. So I had to tell the wife, I was like, we have one of two options: keep going, keep traveling, doing what we've always done, and not being able to scale at the speed that I would like to scale again. Because when we first made the decision to go on the road, we had that Y intersection in our lives, whereas like I can go really hard and go to 100, 200 doors, or we can connect with our family. Because financial independence through real estate, provided that option. Yeah. And I think that's what's so powerful about real estate is it's not about the money, it's about the options. And so we took option B and to go travel. Yep. We did it, came back, and we did it with 2 kids. Now they're 11 and 13. Settled down in Jacksonville because we love the beach. But then I was like, okay, how am I going to attack this market? Well, the same way I attack the other market. Yeah. Find the right people. It's not about finding the right house or finding the right apartment. It's finding the right people. Yes. I went through a few people before I met you. Right. And I was like, no, immediately if it's going to work or if it's not going to work. You're like, you're not ready to do what I want you to do. Right. But then, we found you and I was like, this is exactly what we're looking for. Yeah. And then my mentor, who's become my best friend, he saw it too, and so now he's down here with you, and so it's like
he literally moved down here so we could do all these projects.
Right? And I think that's that's the beauty of financial independence. Real estate, you have the independence. Yeah. And those people that are around you are what's providing you the vehicle to get there.
Yeah,
You know,
totally.
like you and I, you know, we're going to have all these Airbnbs and all these flips, and we're going to see not only us grow, but we're going to see our GC grow.
Yeah.
You know, we just met the trash guy.
Yeah.
He's as important as the rest of the team.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's
every person
and
and the team is critical, like you talked about
critical.
earlier. It's like we can't really execute at a high level if everyone on the team isn't, you know, just as locked in and in their zone of genius, you know. And
Right.
you and I talked about a lot about like how I really haven't done any flips myself, you know, and I've done a ton of short-term rentals.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could write the whole entire playbook on short-term rentals, and I probably will write one day.
That's good.
But it's like, you know, I really haven't done those. And I mean, I've been a part of projects and I've been alongside the projects, but I've never actually done one like fully myself. And so it's like, I know that when I go and do that, you know, I'm going to need to lead on you. I'm going to need to lead on Steve, you know, all of our team for me to properly execute that. And it does, I will say, it actually gets to be pretty easy when you have the right team.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the right team, it's like pulling your hair out for sure. Like you had in that Sarasota project, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so crucial, and you know, and that's why I'm like, it's not about how you attack it. It's like who you attack it with.
Yeah, for sure. And sometimes, like, I think when you're first getting started in this, like, I went into a new market myself with short-term rentals that I bought last year, and I started with some of the wrong team, you know, and I had to realize, like, you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely.
And, you know, slow to hire, quick to fire,
Yes,
right? Like,
absolutely.
you gotta, you know, and I just kind of do everything quick. So I was just like, ripping and running, you know?
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what, these things aren't working out. Like, for example, the cleaning team I had, and it's like, you have to fire them quickly, right? And you do have to and now I've got the right team, right? But going into a new market, I didn't know what I didn't know. And it's like being okay to not know everything, but to just like figure it out as you go. Yeah.
Finding the right people who do have those answers. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk to me about like your mindset right now. Like, what type of deals are you looking for? What's important to you? Because you feel like you've already created freedom, right?
Yeah.
So like, what's next? Like, where are you at right now? Like, what's on your mind?
I would say getting the right mindset in tune basically for tackling even bigger projects, because it's not about these projects either. Like, I know we're tackling really big ones that are big in our mind, like, wow, this is going to produce even more in the future.
Yep.
So instead of just like, I'm not just looking ahead on these two deals, I'm looking like, what are these two deals going to produce afterwards?
Yeah.
Right.
You're looking down the line. Yeah.
Way further down the line, because I'm like, all right, this is the profit I'll make here. And instead of just getting stuck on the profit there, I'm going, all right, now I need to know how to move that profit into even bigger deals. Like, is it commercial properties? Like, there's a real shortage in Florida with retirement homes.
Yep.
Right? Maybe that's the next step. And for a newbie hearing this, don't get lost in the, well, I could do this, I can do this, because you're casting this massive net. Right? Don't cast a massive net when you're first starting. You need to be hyper-focused on one thing, right? The one thing, right?
Yes. You read that book?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Cash Flow Quadrant, you know, all those books, right? And it's like, you got to get hyper-focused first before you can start casting the wider net.
Yes.
You know, it's almost like a slope, too, where it's like you start slow, and then all of a sudden, it's just, it takes off.
That's so true.
Right? And you said earlier, it becomes easy.
It does.
You know, I was asked yesterday, well, how many hours a week would you work on this? I said, maybe a few hours, if that. Because the people are in place working the way they're supposed to be working.
Right.
It allows you the freedom to go chase what you need to chase.
Yes.
You know, bigger deals, better deals.
Right.
Go stir up money, right? I'd like to get part of an equity fund, you know, stuff like that, where it's like, okay, that's the next scale, where people are looking for people like us to be better, right? Produce more. Yep. We are those people. But when you're first starting out, you're like, how do I become that? Well, get focused.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so true. Like, I feel like I've been so focused on just my real estate business and short-term rentals. And now I'm at the same place where it's like, okay, like, What about commercial deals? What about hotels?
Yep.
What about flips? You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
And I've been learning, and I've joined some masterminds for different programs, and it's like, just getting around those people and seeing
Yeah.
how they think and what they do. And
Yeah.
I think hearing now that you had that meetup that you ran, how long did you run that, by the way?
2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
So I've actually really been wanting to do meetups again. I've done meetups in the past, especially like right after COVID and everything opened up. I was jamming on meetups, and like that's how I built. A lot of the people that I have now are through those meetups that we did.
Totally.
And short-term rentals through COVID, like everybody thinks like, oh, short-term rentals like arose because of COVID, but they've really been around for forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually St. Augustine, which is, behind us in this photo, St. Augustine was built as a vacation rental community by Henry Flagler.
Right.
And the elite, the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and all that. This is where they vacationed.
Yes.
And that was the 1800s. So,
Exactly.
I mean, like vacation rentals have been around a very long time. But it's like crazy because during COVID, people finally were like, oh, I need to be a part of this, right? Because of all those tax benefits, It's crazy. Last year, I made the most money I've ever made, and I'm paying 0 taxes legally, because I bought 2 short-term rental properties.
Exactly.
And taking depreciation material participation in the property. I mean, you have your real estate professional status, right?
Yes.
Already, because this is what you do full time.
Yep.
So that's something we're going to talk more about that. I'm going to have a CPA on and teach the audience about how to material participate, how you get your rep status, your real estate professional status, what goes into that.
Yeah.
A lot of my clients, like maybe one of them has a full-time job, like couples, for example, and then the other couple will get the real estate professional status, but between you and Marcy, you hold it, I guess. Is that right?
That's right.
But you guys both are full-time into this.
Absolutely.
And that's really cool, like that you guys get to have that freedom and do this, and it's going to be exciting what we're building this year and beyond.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think there's so much to be said about that, and the more you talk about real estate, the more you're excited. If you're not excited about real estate, you probably shouldn't be in the game.
Oh, that's true. Amen.
It requires blood, sweat, and tears, where it's like you have to give, like you have to sacrifice something, especially at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I tell everyone, it's like, if you're not ready to give up something and it has to hurt, you're not ready for real estate.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
We had to give up time with our kids. Most parents won't do that.
Yeah.
And luckily, I want to say luckily, but we designed that in such a way where it was like, okay, they were 3, 4, 5 years old. We told ourselves, they'll never remember this. They will not remember that we weren't there. Now, we were at that moment in time putting them in daycare and doing that type of thing, so we were gone anyway.
Yeah.
But on nights and weekends, it was books, it was looking at properties, driving for dollars, podcasts.
Yeah.
And it was either do that or do like everyone else does. Go mow the lawn, go out to a bar, watch a sports game on Sundays.
Yeah.
Fill your time
Yeah.
with knowing that you should be doing something else in order to better yourself in the future.
Yeah.
So, we lost a lot of time at the beginning, but we gained that 4.5 years on the road.
Yeah.
We gained right now where they can literally do whatever they want.
Right.
We're around them 24/7.
Yep.
Right? We homeschool our kids.
Yep.
And it's the best thing, and it's because at the very beginning we gave that pint of blood and said, we know this hurts now.
Yeah.
But look what it does in the future.
Absolutely.
It's just that
And let me tell you
delayed-
something. I was in corporate. I had a daycare on site. I worked for one of the biggest banks in the world as well.
Wow.
I actually started the foreclosure department for them when the market crashed. There was no foreclosure department before 2008, right? Because they rarely had foreclosures.
Yeah.
And there was a daycare on the campus in Jacksonville. I drove from at the time I actually lived at Palm Coast on the beach side. I drove from Palm Coast to Jacksonville every day, and I'd take my daughter to school. So guess what? I sacrificed time then. I sacrificed more time then having a corporate job than I ever do now.
Right.
Right? Because
Absolutely.
I would wake up at like 5:30. I'd get on the road at like 6:30. And then I'd literally be like pumping in the car to work to take my daughter to daycare, drop her off. And then I would get home. I'd get off at 5. I'd get home at like 6:15. You eat, you shower, you do your things, and then you have to be in bed by 9 o'clock. You literally have not even 2 hours a day with your child. And so many people live that reality. And that to me, like so many days I would literally just cry and sob because I'm like dropping her off and I'm just like, gosh, like somebody else is seeing her walk. Somebody else is seeing her say her first word. Somebody else is feeding her and grooming her. Like just, it was so hard. I just wanted time with her, and that's, I actually, same thing. I asked for a severance. And what's crazy in corporate is you can play the game.
Absolutely.
You can play the game, and you could have stayed in your corporate job probably.
Yep.
You could have not taken the severance by being the kiss ass, right?
Yep.
And doing all the corporate-y things that you needed to do to stay.
Absolutely.
And I knew that, and I was that for a while, and I worked my way up, and it was, it was comfortable, right? It was comfortable. But it wasn't what I ultimately wanted because, again, I was still away from my child, And now, actually, Maya, my daughter, we just put her back in homeschool. She was going to come with me today while we were going to do a podcast. So she decided to sleep in, right? She's homeschooled now, too. Yep. And it's like, okay, cool. You want to sleep in today? You want to catch up on your sleep? You don't want to come podcasting with me? That's fine, right? And so now, even though I still work a lot, it's nothing compared to what I had to sacrifice when I was working for someone else and building someone else's dream or really building a corporate corporate profits for shareholders, right?
Yep.
It's crazy to me. So for me, this investment, the ROI is so much higher.
So much higher.
It's way better, right?
Because it's kind of unseen almost, right? It's not monetary gain, but it's a life gain.
Yeah.
You're building your life, right? And we a lot of people just go through life doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result.
Yes.
Right? And once you realize it's like the Matrix, you got to snap out.
Yep.
But nobody's going to do it for you either.
Yeah.
And it's consumption is the enemy of progress, right? If all you're doing is consuming podcasts, if all you're doing is consuming sports on the weekends, if all you're doing is consuming whatever it is, you fill in the blank.
Yeah.
There is no progress. You're just consuming. You're a consumer.
Yeah.
Right. And
I think there's a season for that.
Totally.
Like you said, you were consuming the podcast, right? And you hadn't started executing, right? And you had all these haters.
Analysis paralysis is real.
Oh my gosh, yes. I know those.
You can consume too much.
I know those clients. I have some clients. And I try to I'm pretty direct, I don't really sugarcoat a lot, and I try to snap them out of it, right?
Yep.
But it's okay. That's where they're at, and I think once you actually, it's so much easier to take action and maybe take an L than it is to just sit in analysis and in the analysis paralysis and never actually take action, because that's where you're gonna really learn. You know, it's getting, it's like a game. You can't. You got to be in the game, making the plays, not on the sidelines, just watching.
The plays
it's
be made.
Don't you want to be in the game?
And even then, it's if you can, especially at the beginning, get around the people that are doing the game.
Yeah.
And get them the deal, even if you're not going to make the money.
Yeah.
But they're going to show you how to do all of it.
That's true.
Right? That goes way
most
further.
of the time. I think you have to trust your gut too.
Sure.
So crazy, because when I was in analysis paralysis for many years, not with short-term rentals, but with the flipping and that type of investing.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do a flip. This was 2021, and so I had met these guys, and I basically paid them for consulting, right? And we would go and look at deals together. There was this one deal. I don't know if you know about Yellowbird
I do.
in Jacksonville. They used to do these huge meetups, right? They don't really do as much anymore. They do some.
Yeah.
But I was really deep into that. And so I met these guys, paid them for consulting. We were looking at deals, and I found this one on the waterfront in North Jacksonville. And it was the spread was crazy on it. And they had never worked in that area, though. This is off Heckscher.
Yeah.
And I felt in my gut, I was I knew that this was a good deal. And they were kind of I remember standing outside the property, and they're just being I don't know. And I'm just what do you mean? I don't know. For me, but because I was a newbie, I couldn't say that, but I was I need to understand, why are you hesitating? What is the hesitation here? So kid you not, didn't take that deal. Next thing I know, a couple months later, I'm sitting in Yellowbird, and one of the actually friends, her name's Mary, and she's a great person. She's in the business, right? Doing her own real estate investing and all that.
Yeah.
She's up on stage, and she pulls up her deal, and it's this freaking house that I was going to buy and flip. And she talked about all the numbers and how awesome the deal went and blah, blah, but it was one of her first deals too.
First deals too, yeah.
And I was
That was
Are
mine.
you freaking kidding me?
That's mine.
And I have had so many moments like that in my life where I knew I should do something, but I didn't because I was scared. And then I saw someone else do it. And there were so many times like that. And I was freaking pissed. Like, I was pissed. I mean, I was happy for her. I was very happy for her.
Of course.
But I was pissed. I was kind of pissed that why did I put so much trust in someone else when I knew my gut was telling me? So, like, yes, having the right people, but also, like, use your intuition. Like, your soul, you're going to know if it's a hell yes or if it's a hell no.
Exactly.
You know, like, it's...
Absolutely. And it's funny because even when you run into people who have done many, 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 many deals, right? Sometimes even they get it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not always we have all the answers.
Yeah.
We don't have a magic crystal ball that we like, oh, I'm a magical investor and I just make all this money. No.
Yeah.
We make just as many mistakes, I guess. We just know how to turn a mistake into a win.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, and it's getting the experience to do that, you know, and then executing.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think I told you like last year, well actually it's not last year now. It's been about a year and a half. I made some investments into crypto, and I think I told you about that.
Yeah.
That where I literally lost like a lot of money. A lot. And that probably would have, I mean, I was kind of sick for a while from it, to be honest. Like, just the stress of how much I'd lost and how much I'd been set back and, like, literally having to start over.
Yep.
And I remember just being like, okay, well, finally when I was able to, like, kind of pull myself out of it, I was like, I just have to go rebuild, and I've got to build it bigger and better. And I've got like, it put me in a corner, honestly, to be like, figure it out, you know, or flounder, you know, and not that I didn't flounder for a little bit of like, what am I going to do? But it honestly drove me. Sometimes those biggest losses, I think, are the biggest setup, you know, for the next thing, because you've learned so much and you're like literally rock bottom.
Absolutely.
The only place you got is to go up, as long as you just start climbing, you know?
I mean, they're drivers for change.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I think if you hadn't experienced that, maybe you wouldn't be where you're at right now.
Oh, no, I wouldn't.
Right.
I wouldn't. I would not be where I'm at.
Yeah. So you have to take those risks sometimes you know, to level up, I guess, you know, and it's all part of the journey, I guess, you know, especially in real estate as well, you know, teaching your kids these things, you know, that's what I'm saying. I'm a big proponent of passing it down, especially to people that maybe are trying to get to where you're at.
Yeah.
You know, and looking at my kids as they're growing up, you know, I'm like, look, between 0 and 18, you only spend 10% of your time in their lives. Like, so you have 10% to give. That's not a lot of time in a child's life, right?
It's not.
And all of a sudden they're gone, you know, and it's like, all right, well, if you take that and you apply it to not only your children, you apply it to your friends, you apply it to everyone you come into contact with.
Right.
We're all there to help each other.
Yeah.
Right? So if you see someone struggling, reach out, you know, don't just hide what it is you're doing, or if you're already at the top, don't hide what it is you're doing.
Yeah. And that's why we're doing this now.
Absolutely.
You know, like, I feel very strongly that, you know, the way of the world is for people who've already done it and already learned to share, you know, what they've learned. No gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping.
You know, just really sharing authentically. And like we were talking about in another episode about how college, you know, it's just, it's not it for if you really want to create freedom in your life, college is not it, you know. And how do you learn, though? You learn by doing, and you learn by learning from others who have done it already.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's, again, that's what this is about. That's what you want to pass down to your children.
Absolutely.
And they're seeing you do it every day.
Yeah, every day now.
You know?
They've swung a hammer. They've busted through walls before.
Yeah. I know my daughter's like in the car and I'm talking about a deal. Maybe me and you were on the phone or something. And, you know, she's kind of rolling her eyes, but she's also, hearing all
Day
of
in and
those
day
things.
out.
She's hearing negotiations. She's hearing, you know, navigating appraisals and contingencies, and, you know, what the vision is for the Spanish revival project we're about to do, or like, you know, she's hearing all those things, and they're absorbing it.
Absorbing all of it.
Yeah, and they may not want to hear it, but they are absolutely absorbing it, and they're seeing your grit and your hustle, you know?
Yeah,
and
it's a constant state of learning, right? I mean, I think as we go through our projects, I think there's just always something to be learned in every single project that we're doing,
Yeah.
So it's like, what are our takeaways? What's our postmortem on this? Like, how do we get better? What did we learn along the way? And it's like applying all that every single project.
Yes.
And I think that's why it's like, oh yeah, we're doing this now and you guys are hearing us right now. Like, oh, I'm going to do some great things. It didn't come without its bumps and bruises and failures. It comes at the culmination of all those things together to get to this point.
Yeah.
And nothing's ever set in stone. It's like adapting to those issues or adapting to the wins. The losses are bigger than the wins.
Yeah.
Because I learn way more on the loss than I do on the wins.
Me too.
But we're not in it to lose everything. Otherwise,
No.
it's like, or should we be here?
Well, I mean, I have full confidence in you and in myself that if you were to lose everything, you could
do it again.
absolutely just rebuild it.
Absolutely.
If
I lost it all, you can't take away experience.
Nope. Nobody can ever take that from you,
Can't take away my skills. You can't take away everything I've learned.
Yes.
I just know how to do it better next time.
That's right. That's right.
So.
Well, I think you brought so much value to everyone today.
Thank you.
Do you have any parting words to tell them? Anything you want to leave them with?
That's a big one. I would say, again, for the new guys, it's more of a stop waiting for life to happen.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. Stop listening to constant negativity. You got to surround yourself with the positive. And just go do it, and like find the people who are doing it. If this is your path, if real estate investing is your path, find out now if it is. And don't wait for it to come to you, because it's not going to. Guys like me aren't looking for you.
No.
We're out there doing deals.
Yeah.
But if you come looking for us, guaranteed you're going to find someone that wants to pour into you and give you the tools to succeed.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have all the answers per se, but there's going to be a lot of people around that person knows that will have the answers you're looking for. But if you don't execute, you're not worth pouring into.
That's right.
You got to be worth pouring into, especially when you're starting out. So find those people around you and work your magic on your inner circle, and then you work to your outer circle.
Yeah.
And conquer it through time and effort, because it's not just something that's going to fall in your lap.
Yep.
Yeah.
True that.
So,
All right.
I think that's what I would say.
Thank you guys for listening today. It's been awesome, and we'll see you next time.